Buttons pressed. Any second now, people will be able to hear all of our Star Wars thoughts. Isn't that
Wow.
exciting?
Lucky them.
Yeah, that's what I think. Right? I think it's doing the things it's supposed to be doing. I have no idea when it like actually starts stuff. I think it's on now.
Okay.
All right, hello there, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Star Wars: Tapcalf Transmissions, the only Star Wars podcast live some weeknights at 7:30 p.m., but sometimes other nights too. I'm Corey, joined as always by my co-host, the effervescent Eckhart's Ladder.
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing it back. How are you doing tonight,
Yeah.
Eck?
I'm good. I'm well, even. Uh, Read a comic. Easy stuff, easy work, and ready to wash my hands of it and move on.
Yeah. So we are talking tonight about Eck's favorite, I guess, the Star Wars Invasion comic arc by Dark Horse, taking place in the New Jedi Order series timeline, which is what we're talking about on the book side as well. This is Arc 2, Rescues. So I think, was the first one called Refugees as well?
Yeah, refugees, rescues, and I think it's another R as well.
Revelations
Revelations,
for the
maybe.
next one, yeah.
Yeah.
So they reused that title a lot, I guess, in the NJO, but it makes sense for what they're doing.
Yep.
So before we get into our main topic for the night, any other Star Wars news?
There was an image shown for Skeleton Crew,
Right?
which looks pretty cool. Almost like remind me of like
Urkel?
Star Fox, honestly, like the pirates.
So yeah, I saw some people talking about that. So there's Jaleel White, is that his name? From like Steve Urkel is in
Oh, is
Skeleton
he?
Crew. I think that
Oh,
isn't that the is it am I conflating two things? He's in
I
something,
don't
a
know
bounty
all the
hunter.
Urkel lore.
But yeah, so the picture was a wolf-like man. I saw some people saying like, "Oh, is this a Bothan?" But like to me, it just looks like a Shistavanen.
Not a Bothan, it's a Shistavanian wolf man.
Yeah, like
His
I
name's
thought I
not a
was
Bothan.
right. Okay, good.
What happened to this shame?
What happened to deleting your Twitter account?
Yeah. See, this is some of the stuff that I miss by
Right,
not
right.
being.
You're
Yeah.
you're safe and free now.
I do have a burner, but I don't. I just when I'm not arguing with people, well, would you know? I don't. I only really use it to get ideas for my football channel. So it's
Yep.
like all my following stuff is football, no Star Wars.
Well, my other Twitter activity today was tweeting something about transit under a city councilor that got a lot of traction. So,
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna have to
Let my
delegate
man
before
have
city
an
councilor.
impact on the municipal process.
It's not gonna change anything. But yeah, so I think that's really all the Star Wars news to talk about today. So heading into Star Wars Invasion Rescues, we leave off with Artorias, the home planet of Finn and Galfridian. I keep transposing some letters in that, but
Yeah.
their home planet's under Yuuzhan Vong control, so they're each of the siblings has some different rescues to do. The Yuuzhan Vong are being big meanies to everyone. We get the death of their father in this, and the big revelation, even though we're
It's
not in
funny because he
Revelations
seems
yet.
completely fine. Like he
Well,
gets
yeah,
acid in his face and he's in the bed. He's completely fine. It's,
we'll get there. And we have the revelation as well, just to us, the audience, that the mother is in fact a Yuzang Vang. So
You mean a Yuuzhan Wong? Yeah, that was. I definitely didn't. At first, when I read that section, I thought she was being like transformed by the machines. But no, she comes out. She's got a Yuuzhan Vong face, which is admittedly very scary. But I guess she's got like she have an Ooglith mask on, I guess.
yeah, and we learned last week in the NJO, like in the in I guess that one's also called Refugees,
Oh
that
yeah.
uh that the Ooglith maskers are enough to make a Yuuzhan Vong look like a dinosaur.
Mm.
So, like, I was picturing that as, the T Rexes, like the costumes with like the little arms and then your
Oh,
face
the
is in the middle.
inflatable one.
That's
Yeah.
what I was picturing for General Athena or whatever. in Refugees last time. So they can do a lot of work. And all the right bits are fleshy, I guess, so you wouldn't notice unless it started peeling off.
Yeah, you're right. Also, I did just remember there was some other news too. They
Okay.
dropped. Sorry, I just this came to me while you were talking. I didn't want to forget it. They dropped an audio book today out of nowhere called
Oh, I didn't see that.
Padawan's Pride.
Oh, right. Yeah. I did
Um,
actually see that. I didn't realize that was an
it's
audiobook. I thought it was a
it's
new
not
book
it's
announcement.
more like an audio production. Like it's like one of those like
Yeah.
the other one.
Dooku Jedi Lost kind of deal, but
Yeah,
shorter, right?
yeah, it's like 4 hours long. So I'm probably gonna listen to that at some point. But the cover's got like an episode 1.5 looking Anakin and Obi-Wan. So
Yeah, it looked like a very Jedi Quest, like the old young readers novels, where they basically Animorph style put Anakin's face between episode 1 and between Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen.
yeah, it almost seems like it was an accident because like I'm looking at the Wikipedia page and it says yeah, it was released without any prior promotion. So maybe someone clicked the wrong
Weird.
button.
Like there's no book announced with it or connected to it
No,
right
there
now.
probably won't be because
Okay.
some of the other audio productions haven't gotten books yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So there
Well,
it is.
we have the opening of the first of the 6 issues is there's a station above a dead planet, and there's a bunch of refugees who are kind of crowded in there, and that's where the Yuuzhan Vong attack. This is where Kay's fight kind of begins because Kay and Nina, their mother, have taken over a Yuuzhan Vong ship, the Simpa, I think.
Yep.
And so they use that to save as many people as possible. They kind of make it seem like it's a strenuous or painful
Yeah.
process to control the Yuuzhan Vong ship. Maybe just because she's fighting mentally against the not the Dovin Vassal, the Yamisk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it's not that big a deal when it happens in the books. Like anyone just gets kind of
Yeah.
plugged in and then
Well, there's sort of like a scene that shows like a tentacle like writhing through her head. So yeah.
that part's
Speaking
not
of speaking of Bothans, we do get a look at Borskvalia though early on.
yeah.
Just on a hologram, and we from a cat, which I thought was fun. And I do think like the strongest parts of this series, I didn't like this arc as much because it's too focused on this one family now. When like the actual war stuff, I think is a lot of fun and is why the first arc is a lot stronger. Where this time you're kind of split up into we've got the son and then we've got the mother and the daughter, and we're kind of just focusing on those arcs more than anything else actually going on.
Yeah, like I think the visuals in it give like a sort of visceral feel to
Yeah.
the NJO that wasn't quite there. Like seeing the Yorick coral slaves, like the implanted ones, I thought that was kind of neat. I think the reveal of Nina was unexpected, but
Yeah.
like it was also kind of unexpected because I don't know how much sense it necessarily makes
Makes
in
no sense. I guess
context.
she was like an advanced scout or
Yeah.
something.
So she's like a Nominor that like turned again, like she was enslaved and then I guess when she killed her enslaver. Like that it kind of ties into the same thing where all of the major beats of Invasion are kind of just taking other people's plots from other stuff and applying it to these 4. So like it's literally reenacting Leia killing Jabba, like with the Duro she's enslaved to. There is a funny moment where he's like, not even one slave when the king's like, hey, no, cut that out here. But he just kicks all the Duros off the planet, which I mean seems kind of racist.
A little racist. Yeah.
But like you have Finn getting like his secret is that like he can sense the Yuuzhan Vong, which seems to be just like a version of Vong sense from some of the Yorick that Anakin had before. You have the stolen Yuuzhan Vong ship, which is basically just what Jaina does with Trickster.
And Lobaka, yeah.
So it just kind of feels like retreading that ground. I like the visuals are fun, but even there I get some more like 40K feeling.
Yeah, like there's parts that are okay, but it gets like sometimes it's too much. Like when they're on the battlefield and like there's like these soldiers just wielding massive miniguns. You're like, okay, they've lost a bit of the plot. Like I really like random scenes like they're disembarking the Yuuzhan Vong ship.
Yeah.
And they're like coming out of a tentacle, and you get like a really good idea of how massive the thing is, and it makes it kind of terrifying, which is something you can't get just from reading the books in the same way.
Yeah.
And that's where it's really strong. And plus, you know, for some things, this is like the only look we get at a lot of Yuuzhan Vong things. Like this is the only look we get at the Fall of Coruscant, I believe. There's a bit in the Essential Guide to Warfare, but the Fall of Coruscant, we see the Yamosk in issue 2, I think. And without the comic, there wouldn't be any of that. So I'm grateful that that exists. It's just same with we get to see a very late stage of Luke's Jedi Praxium as well, which was cool.
Unfortunately, we get to see Jaina and Jason with these designs because they look horrible and they act very out of character. But
yeah.
I guess we talked about it a little bit in the prior book, or in the prior set, but just to maybe give some context for people who may not have read these comics or may not have read NJO itself. These came out about 10 years after NJO itself did. So like Dark Horse was originally working with Del Rey on the NJO storyline planning. And then they kind of fell off because there was disagreements about how the plot should be handled or like events. And so it wasn't until a long time later that Dark Horse came in and then added in these invasion comics. So these are set much earlier in the war than what we're talking about with the books right now. So these are probably closer to Dark Tide, I think, the Lucino books.
Yeah, it's really early on because we know it's before Coruscant. We know it seems to be before. Obviously, Anakin's dead. He's not in this, but I don't get the feeling he's dead.
Him and Tahiri would still be on Yavin. So, like, the fact that he's not with Jaina and Jason, like, would have been nice to maybe see him a bit. But yeah, so Finn is training with Luke, or training under Luke with Jaina and Jason. They became friends in the prior book. They had their trip to Nar Shaddaa, where he met, I think he met Dre in that one, and then got the holocron.
I honestly did not remember that at all.
I don't think he met Dre. He got the holocron somewhere in Nar Shaddaa. It's been a while. But yeah, so Dre is an older Jedi who was part of the original order and had created a holocron for Finn to get. He's seen these visions of the later version, or the later points in the Yuuzhan Vong War, like the fall of Coruscant. And that's where we get the scenes you're talking about. He wants to talk to Finn so they can plan about like whatever comes next. Like I'm not sure what that's about yet. So I don't know if they're trying to
it sounds like there's some sort of weapon or something he wants to develop that he knows Luke wouldn't be cool with, which is again not any sort of a new idea for the new Jedi Order. Like Luke wanting to be more defensive at this time, which he also does change later on.
Dre is going kind of mad. He's more on the Kip side of things of proactivity, but I think he's also a little bit dark side. We'll see.
He looks like a grease ball.
He is a grease ball. He even admits that, and then he's asking for some new clothes later. So he's not sure if there's more than one type of clothes. But one of the other weird things for me though was like the Yuuzhan Vong, like they're going for that War of the Worlds aesthetic when she fires everything on the battlefield, and it's like Vong lasers is what they're doing compared to like the Yorick Trema, like the kind of like.
You mean when she fires the ship?
Yeah. When Nina fires the ship at all the ground troops and wipes everything out. Yeah. Like it's very weird. Like when she attacks the station at first as well.
There's no real Yuuzhan Vong weapon like that.
Yeah.
Like the Yuuzhan Vong have they got Grutchins, which we do see. In my note, I have Jaina best there is, comma or question mark. No Grutchins, because like Jaina's like talking up her shit and then instantly just Grutchined from 360 no scope Grutchined. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, what weapon is that supposed to be? Because that was a very New Republic looking weapon.
Yeah, it's like there's all these orifices on the ship that are just shooting like straight up lasers, and like I guess maybe it's like the plasma cannons, maybe, but
they're always described as firing like slagged rock.
Yeah, like superheated rock, and that's where the plasma's coming from, rather than like War of the Worlds laser
Maybe it's
tractor
just
beam
like
coming in.
you can imagine. Oh, it's a heat vent that lets off biological waste converted energy. Bam. Yuuzhan Vong heat ray.
Sure.
I, I also gotta say I was a little surprised at the portrayal of the oh, what's it called, the Phillips, which
Hmm.
it makes sense. Like in my mind, I never really put together the fact that a Phillip would really be making like a miniature, because it's not a hologram; it's a living thing,
Yeah.
like mimicking whatever's on the sender. But I didn't imagine it looking exactly like a fleshy little guy. But yeah,
Yeah, like it's probably the same underlying premise as the Ooglis, like
yeah,
just having the tissue do whatever it needs to mimic
yeah,
the person.
yeah.
But
It's
like that's got
creepy
to be
though.
one of the most uh inconvenient parts of Vong technology, where like the Phillips are in pairs.
Yeah,
So you need a different cell phone for every friend,
it's like a carrier pigeon.
almost as extinct by the end of the war as well.
Yeah. I was gonna make a topical political joke, but I'm not going
No,
to.
well, we're not doing that.
Just check your Velop suppliers. But yeah, so again, that's I think the strongest part of this comic is just seeing, it. I must have said it a million times. It's weird how they made this big, uh, you know, big storyline, however many novels and many in novellas, but not really an integrated multimedia project like Shadows of the Empire. It's kind of a shame, really.
Yeah, there's some more that comes later with like the Tales comic with Kyle and Jan, which for some reason I thought was part of Invasion, even though I've
Mm.
like specifically looked up Tales to read that comic
I
repeatedly.
never read that one.
But yeah, it basically just shows at least some of what Kyle and Jan are doing in the Vong War. But like all of the comic elements of the New Jedi Order are so post hoc.
Hmm.
But it is kind of funny though that like despite the fact that Dark Horse kind of got soured on the NJO, it's them that tended to do stuff that tied in with it most afterwards. Like the Legacy comics was more of a follow up to the New Jedi Order. Like
Yeah, for
Invasion is
sure.
tied right in. Tales, I'm not sure if Dark Horse did Tales, but then you have the novel side of things where like in the Swarm War, a lot of what had been set up in Unifying Force, the final novel, gets kind of swept to the side, and we'll talk about that I think a lot with both Unifying Force and the Swarm War. When it was just an offhand comment last week of like, do we do the bugs? And then there were actually quite a few
We're
comments
gonna do the
saying, don't skip
bugs.
the
Don't
bugs.
worry. We won't skip the
Don't skip the
bugs.
bugs.
Christ's sakes.
Don't skip the bugs.
Please don't skip the bugs.
I love
We
the
won't
bugs.
skip the bugs.
Yummy. Speaking of yummy bugs, though, the Grutchins, I did like. I think the Grutchins were like the most true to what you kind of get the sense of from the novels, as far as like the Yuuzhan Vong
Yeah.
weaponry.
Yeah. I really like the Firewalkers in the first
Yeah,
arc as
that
well.
was
They
that
were
was
really
cool.
wonderful.
There are
Um,
several things like you were saying visually we just don't see elsewhere, and
mhm.
like a lot of the Vong ships are, I think, really well rendered here. But
Yeah.
there is
I
one
thought,
that's there's the one image with Savong Law, uh, and it has like the big fleet around him, and there's kind
mhm.
of like the almost Lucra Hulk looking things where it goes a
Yeah.
bit too far in the direction of like this looks like metal plating rather than the kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
merging of.
I couldn't figure out what that was going for, honestly.
And so naturally we're going to turn it into something for Throne's Revenge, but still.
Yeah.
Was the so with the Yuuzhan Vong, there's two main Yuuzhan Vong commanders that are like we're dealing with in this arc that are like taking over Artorias and doing all
Hmm.
the all the related activities. But
Hmm.
so it's Nagmi, which is a weird name to give the like girlfriend character of the
He's a
Yuuzhan Vong
shaper.
commander. She's a shaper,
Yeah.
and the commander is Salok. Yeah, Salok.
Yeah.
And so they're they're hooking up, and they've got like secret other stuff going on, and their whole thing is like, oh, we don't follow the rules, blah
It's
blah
kind of
blah.
weird because she's got like these plans that like are supposed to be secret, but it's not anything no one else is doing.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit closer to what like Nen Yim's doing with the ninth cortex, where she's kind of just making stuff up and doing it, apparently. But like it seems a lot more connected to the rest of the war effort, so it seems like stuff people would be more aware of. But
But they have the technology to do that because they've been doing it on like early on in the
yeah,
war. They're making the slaves. So,
yeah, like this
but it
is
seems like
universal
she's doing
shit.
it. It seems like she's doing something a little bit different because she's also doing it to critters too, by the look of it.
Yeah, Critical Role fans.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, like
Yeah.
this seems worse than what the other ones do. That the other like coral implant slaves do, because they
Yeah.
completely lose control of them. They just want to fight everything.
Yeah.
It's more like Rakghoul Plague style thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise doing this if you need an army that
No.
just kills each other. That's not great.
No. It's not amazing.
They so they really they're so Priestess Ilan in the books was everyone was like, oh well, even humans would say she was attractive, but then all the female Vong in this are also like really really showing stuff off in true comic style.
Yeah. With very angular faces, they kind of
Yes.
remind me of Vergier in a way.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think Vergier showed off cleave,
Well,
but maybe
they're
she
they're a
did.
bit more cat-like, I think. Actually, they don't look
Yeah.
like a bird to me.
Yeah, I mostly meant the face. Do birds have boobs? I don't know, but
I'm sure Vergier does in the comics somewhere. Let's see. Like she was in comics.
yeah.
It's well, you can't see in that angle. Okay, she would her robes were too baggy, so we don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there's somewhere we could find.
I don't want this in my search history. What am I doing?
Is it? It's Legacy that has her, right?
Yeah,
Like the flashbacks with yeah,
with Crate when Crate's
yeah.
like upside down.
Just chilling.
I need to read all of. I'm gonna
He's
try to
doing
read.
the fucking David Carradine thing.
I need to read all of Legacy this week when I'm gone. That's gonna be my airplane
No.
entertainment.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah, because I think that's the
You're going to like a hub of culture and you're gonna read this fucking slop.
on the plane.
Also Legacy fans. I'm just joking, but
It's not that long to read all of Legacy. Comics are
aren't
fast.
there 100 issues?
There's a lot of them, but
I've read most of them, but like for me, the problem with comics, including this one, is like I'm not good at reading comics, and I do think there is like a temperament to read comics, where I end up just really speed reading it, and then I get lost in the sauce. So I just know like when I reread Legacy, I'm gonna be lost. Like issue 100, making sly references to things that happened 30 issues ago, and I'm like,
there's only
yeah.
68 issues of Legacy.
Okay.
Not that
Does that
bad.
include Legacy 2 though?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
there's 50 in the original in the 2000 in my entirely purchased 2000 or Legacy 2006 folder. There's 50 issues, and then in my also entirely purchased Legacy 2013 run there are 18. So, but I want to reread it because like I think that's going to be the place that most clearly indicates any in-text reference to what Vergier's position was retconned into.
Yeah.
And I also need to do a follow-up video on like the Imperial Knights. But
The Imperial Knights are cool. I remember I reread a lot of it for that video I did on like my post Endor timeline,
Yeah.
and then when I got to that section, I just kind of like Cliff Notes, baby. Like I gave I was like, yeah, I'll give a 5-minute overview of the Hunt for Zinj. Let's do the entire second, or I don't even remember the name of the war. Is it the Sith Empire War and all that? Like 30 seconds each.
mm-hmm. Well, there's only so much. Like that's my thing with comics is everything feels very compressed.
Yeah.
Where maybe it's just because I do kind of like you, just kind of go through it and I don't like savor each image or whatever. But
It's also like I gotta say the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances government in exile. Come on, man.
GFFA GIA,
Yeah.
also known in universe as the Gaffagia.
I will say that book does those comics do have some cool ship things. Like the
Yeah.
Imperius is cool. The GA ships are cool. Like that. The they got the what's it called again? I did a video on it.
The Scythe?
The scythe, and then they got like the trident, the triple scythe, or the saber
Yes.
tooth maybe.
No, Sabretooth is 2.
Yeah, saber tooth is like the frigate. But yeah, so
I
the
always
ships are
thought you
cool.
hated those.
No, I think they look really cool. One thing I didn't realize is Admiral Nick. You know him on Twitter.
Yeah.
He commissioned that famous image that you see everywhere of the scythe with like the 3 scythes with like the fleet around it. That was an image he commissioned. If you look up MC scythe. Oh fuck.
The one with like the fighters around it?
Yeah, it's on the Wikipedia page for some reason. I don't know why.
Weird.
But yeah, he told me that he commissioned it. So
Huh.
yeah, maybe it might have been purchased for like the they did that with the new Essential Guide to Warfare. They like purchased commissioned images.
Yeah, like that's how some of Fractal Sponge's stuff ended up in there, but Darren Tan.
I think it was that one. Maybe it's a different image I'm thinking of, but I'm 95% sure it's that one.
All right. Well, while you think of that, do we think that the cat at the start should be called a Zygerian? Can we make
No,
that call today? No?
I don't think it looks like one. Do
Well,
you?
this was pre-Zygerian. No, it wasn't actually pre-Zygerians existing. Well, what are we saying it was? Do they have what species is that then?
Um, what was the
Not Tawny's species. Well, she
yeah,
was a Bothan actually.
no, what's the
Weirdly.
cat that flew an X-wing? Um, in the old Marvel comics. Um,
Uh,
I was just assuming it was one of her. Oh,
I just
what's her name
googled
again?
cat species. I don't know what I expected, but it's just fucking regular cats.
Yeah, so in the old Marvel comics, there is a cat that flies an X-wing.
Well, it looks like
I
I
mean,
think it does
it
look like
could
a
also,
Zygerian. Just not like
yeah.
2008 animation style because they have actual fur in this.
I mean, it could also be a Cathar. That's a cat, right?
Yeah, kind of.
But less cat-like
Juhani
than
doesn't
that.
have that much facial hair.
Yeah, I really gotta. It's gonna drive me crazy. There's a cat that flies an X-wing in the old Marvel Star Wars, and she's like just a cat. I can't remember her name.
Her name was Cat. She was a cat.
It may have been Cat, but I can't remember.
We'll put her to call for the comments on that one. But
Yeah.
the so on the station, Nina Galfridian
Yep.
blows up the enemy ship, and they start rescuing everyone. But we're starting to see Kay as a leader. Have we seen that she had any kind of force talent before then, or was it just Finn?
I was trying to remember. Like, is she off to Jedi school in the first? I don't think
I don't think
so.
she was because they got separated fairly quickly.
But doesn't she have a lights? Like, where did she get the lightsaber
She
from?
got the lightsaber because it was Yuldon's, the Jedi that's
Oh,
captured by Savok and Ming
okay.
Ma. But just because her shirt is so black, like
Mhm.
the tube top, it just looks like a sensor bar.
Yeah.
Because everything is just pure black. It's not a very large shirt. It just looks like a sensor bar. What I'm
Hanging
saying is
clean.
comics are fucking weirdly horny all the time.
Always. Yeah, always. It's just the way it is.
Everyone's everyone's underdressed. Except for like Jaina's wearing a space sweater, which
Jaina
is
is arguably
kinda weird.
overdressed. Yeah, Jaina and Jason. But yeah, it was nice to see them again, but it's weird.
Yeah, like Jason and Luke are wearing regular robes, but Jaina's robe just looks like a sweater, which
Yeah.
is strange. But yeah, like I think Jaina looks more accurate to what I'd expect for Jaina than Jason does.
It looks like kind of like KVS.
Yeah, I can see that.
The hair. Yeah.
But they're only like Finn, Kay, Jaina, and Jason are probably only what, like 16, 17 at this point? Comic characters always look so much older too.
Well, it's probably only 26 ABY, right?
Yeah.
And they were born 9?
Yeah. Well, like even Caleb, their dad was saying like when he met Nina, that was 17 years before. So Kay and Finn, I think, were like 1 by then. So they're about 18 now.
Yeah, because she's not their actual mom.
Yeah, she's
Actual mom is dead.
Stepmother, Yuuzhan Vong.
Yeah, biological, not actual.
Yeah,
she's
We
not.
know what you
She's
meant.
the mom that stepped up.
Exactly.
Yep.
Not the mom that blew up.
Yeah. Yeah, and their planet is like the New Republic is not epic in this. Like instantly that one guy, like they save the station in the Yuuzhan Vong ship, and he just instantly wants to take control of the vessel. Total dickhead. But we're getting a bit of. It's still pretty early on in the war, so the New Republic is still kind of pretending things aren't really happening.
Yeah. They're willing to give up all these planets like Ryshel and Artorias. They're just like, it's fine.
And Artorias was already kind of like, they were like a loner planet, like purposely independent from the goings on of the galaxy. So they would have been very low on the New Republic help list, I think.
Yeah, like they stayed out of the Galactic Civil War or something so that people could just come and not have the war be there, which, I mean, a little both sidesy, but hey.
Yeah.
Who's to say whether the New Republic or the Yuuzhan Vong were real? But Caelad's, I guess, his plot within the family or within this arc, is mostly dying, but he has his second in command, along with his wife, turn out to be Yuuzhan Vong. He's just fucking riddled in Vong at all times.
Yeah.
But he has a drawn out fight, but the Duloc, his Yuuzhan Vong second in command, has, I think it's supposed to be like Nominor's Plaren bowl, the eye that just like he squeezes and spits out venom.
So nasty.
So he gets that on his face, but then it's like, it seems like a week or so that he's just
like he seems
fine.
Totally fine, but apparently not.
Compared to the book, when Nominor's like, "Oh, I gotta act fast. She's on her way out." This guy's like
through his face,
laying in bed. Finn's bringing him soup to hear stories about the old days. Points a lightsaber at his head and almost turns it on.
Yeah. Was he just being like a silly dad there, or was he actually about to?
I think he was so I think he was actually in pain from the like previously searing poison on his face that was like, you could see boils forming as soon as it's on there. So this guy's in pain. He's handed a weapon and he wants to make it seem like no one has to like jump in, but he wants out. This man, he's done.
He's so done.
So he's like, "Oh, look at the can I turn it on?" And then unfortunately Finn stops him before he can have his last wish to be released from the pain.
He wants to kill himself.
That's what I'm saying.
And legit, yeah. But he seems fine. Like his face is slightly discolored, but like otherwise, I don't know. He seems fine.
Well, until he does, in fact, die.
Yeah.
Oh,
Minka, that's her name. The X-wing pilot. Look up Minka Star Wars.
I'll trust you on this. Minka, a Cantrosian. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's like legit just a cat.
Yeah, it's just a cat. This is the whole planet of cats. Cantro 7.
Minka's faction. Minka has a faction?
Coming soon.
Sam. Oh my god, look up Sammy. Sammy's got like a perm almost. Minka, Sammy, and Dern. Oh, Dern is cool too.
Is that their whole
Dern,
faction?
I I think I think that one is a Cantrosian. You know
Scratches
what?
from their paws would result in Cantrosian scratch fever.
Oh my god. I remember that song. It's kind of a shame like that Cantrosians haven't been made canon yet.
I feel like it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
It's in the Force Unleashed 2 novelization.
Like people talk about like obscure like people who go to like Comic-Con as like obscure characters from Star Wars, and it's always like what's his name, Sam and Bink or whatever. Like, okay. Like, all right. Go as a Cantrosian.
People
Like,
will just think
go as
you're
Minka,
just a
a
cat.
furry. Yeah. Well, have Minka in her X-Wing outfit. That would be a sick costume.
Oh my
And she's
god.
actually a pretty big character in the comics as well.
Well, I'm at the Skirmish in the Cantros System Wikipedia page, and this seems horrible. I don't remember this one.
Tell me about it.
Combatants: Alliance of Free Planets on one side, Alliance of Free Planets on the other.
Oh,
Leia,
no.
Luke, Han, Minka, Sammy, and Dern against Nero and Dern. Dern's on both sides in this. Strength,
Oh, no.
Cantrosian rebels against strength, Cantrosian rebels. Casualties for each side. Major.
I think when you do your Galactic Civil War mod, you need to look at the Marvel comics for ship designs.
Yep.
Because there's a lot there. Like especially for like some of the Corellian like frigates or cruisers. It's like, oh, this is a CR90 if it were bigger. This is CR90 if it were just weird. Yeah, okay, cool.
Doing the
Or, like,
Nagai fleet is going to be fun for their own
Oh, yeah.
invading force. But
Or like the Imperial Star Destroyers. There's like, oh, that's an Imperial Star Destroyer that's weird for some reason. Cool.
sounds like a great use of everyone's time.
Well, that's where the Praetor comes from.
Yeah. That's where most of our units come from.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so Kaled dies. Kay is becoming a real leader, and Nina ends up saving Kay's life when they're when they're getting chased by the Yuuzhan Vong implanted slaves. So they had to make the choice to either kill everyone or save no one.
Yep.
Nina made the choice she had to make, but Nina and
She
Kay are
enjoyed
brought
it.
together by she. Oh, nothing I can do, Kay. Gotta come on. Oh, no.
Blast them. I just had to blast them.
But yeah, so Kay ends up with Euladon's lightsaber. Euladon, who I don't think he actually played. I think he's new in this arc. I don't think he was captured in the last one. He's like a blue-skinned Jedi. I'm not sure what species he's supposed to be, or if he even had a species at the time.
At first, I thought he was supposed to be a Chiss, but his eyes look red, but I don't think he is.
He's probably. I don't think he's given a species, but he's probably like Pantoran or something, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, his first appearance is in Rescues too. So that is, we didn't see him get captured. So they're doing something with him, but we're not sure what. So during the battle, the enslaved forces were basically just used as cover for Nagmi's shapers Nagmi to get off planet with their research, including Yuldon. While the rest of the shapers were like killed off in the battle.
Yeah. Well, it's also a way to call because there's clearly a spy in the ranks. So. I do like other shapers. Some of them are like not cool with it. Others are like, fuck yeah, like let's go. I've been waiting.
Is that a thing? Like, is the whole intercaste romance actually forbidden? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Isn't the rule that if anyone sees a superior officer naked, they gotta breed?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
die?
I don't think that'd be a rule at all. Like, especially, I mean, it's still early on in the war, but most of the time they're trying to encourage a little more Yuuzhan. I don't know what the gestation period is like, but
like shamed ones, they're not allowed.
Yeah.
But between like shapers, warriors, and intendants, I don't know.
I
if
think
that's
maybe the
off.
worry was more about like them conspiring.
Yeah, but
Like how
they were pretty explicit though of like, but our love is forbidden.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. Like the Yuuzhan Vong, for all the hangups they have, like that's not really one of them. Especially for the warriors who are like given high status, like to take
Yeah,
whoever they want.
yeah. Like this guy seems to be chief of northern operations right now after what's his fuck lost at Ethor.
Yeah,
Shido Shy.
one of my favorites because he died like a punk to the multi-phase lights. Well, the Trickata.
Oh, it's gonna get longer or shorter. You can't. You don't know what to do.
It's like, yeah, I got a snake. I got a snake that can turn to rock. I think I'm impressed.
They do talk about
Um,
how the Yamisks come from the Yamisk tree, like the Yamisk plant, and like that seems true to what like a lot of the animals in the Vong are like. Like they're the amphistaphs are like polyps that come off of a plant. Like
yeah,
the weirdest thing about the Vong is like they don't go plants and animals. They're just all one gross mash of shit. You just pluck something from the Yamisk tree,
yeah.
walk through a sphincter as your door. Disgusting. Not
Not
even the
just walk through,
Flintstones.
caress. You gotta caress the fucking. You gotta caress the rim of the sphincter to get it to open.
Hmm.
Like, make sure you lick your hand and then touch the wall, and the sphincter will open for you.
Yeah, you could go pretty deep in what all could be. Family show.
Yeah, family show. I just every time I do that, I imagine in Halo 3 on the map. Fuck, isolation. There's that little flood door
Yeah,
that you go through. That's every time they talk about the sphincter, I just imagine that.
don't love that, but it's accurate when you're like sliding down.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, which technically I don't think would be well. Really, a sphincter is just like anything that closes and opens with a muscle, right? Really.
yeah.
So
Like you have your ocular sphincters.
your throat, right?
Throat's got some sphincters in it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like we need to as a society open up our sphincters. I don't know where I was going
There
with
was
that.
that great video by Vsauce. How many holes do you have?
Right? Yeah.
Where it was like more about like shapes and stuff, but like what counts as a hole? Is it a hole? Is like your butthole to your mouth one hole? Is it two holes? Is it no holes? Very interesting discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is the picture of like all the enslaved like the slave coral people
Cool.
and coral and like there's a good variety that they drew in there, but I can't tell if the middle one's a rancor. I think the
Yeah, I thought it was too.
so those are some powerful things.
Yeah, because they're it's not just the captured things, it's the natives on
Yep.
the which you don't see that with the you don't really see them turning nature against itself in the same way. Like you do see the Vong forming, which is really them introducing species from their own galaxy and
Yeah.
transforming the planets, but you don't see a whole lot of like that kind of reminded me of the like the Sith magic that you see sometimes.
Yeah, like the Terentatex and stuff that they
Yeah.
made.
Yeah. Yep.
So the star explodes. Finn is getting his new Jedi tutelage. He heads to Nar Shaddaa after separating with Jaina and Jason. Jaina gives him a goodbye kiss, and Jason's like, "Oh, I didn't know we were doing that." And I thought that was an in character joke for Jason. I think that
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
But really, I think that's the main plots of what's happened so far. We have our rescue missions. They've rescued like Kay rescues the people. She's becoming a real leader. Uh, Finn kind of rescued his dad. His dad died anyways, but he's separated himself from the Jedi. Kay has a lightsaber. Finn has a lightsaber. They're both other people's lightsabers, but we're not worrying about that. And
I mean, Luke gives him one, so that's good enough, right?
yeah, he's got the
He trained for
Powan
15
Jedi
minutes. What more do you
Masters.
want? That guy was cool.
Yeah, I do like how broad of a species brush they're willing to pull in,
Yeah.
especially when they do have to draw them all rather than or trace them all at least, rather than just being able to write big
We do
green guy.
We did see those giant like ants. I don't not the Killiks, but like the ones that were remember in the Mandalorian. There's like that giant ant. Is
Yeah, the Yamri.
that what it is? Yeah, I
I
think we
think that
saw one
was
of
the
those.
Yamri. Dr.
Yeah, I love those
Mandibles.
guys. Yeah, I love that guy. He's so cool.
And imagine that guy enslaving General Grievous's people.
Is that? Oh, it was them?
That was the Huck. So like the
That was,
guy from
yeah.
the 'cause I think that was a Huck in Mandalorian based on like the Huck in episode 4,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the Huck, and that's the people that Grievous was fighting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I do like the idea that I really like revisiting the cantina in Mandalorian, even though usually I find it like whatever.
mhm.
And like all they got like business is so bad, all they got left is the giant ant. Like you got the giant ant and like one other dude in the corner, and that's it.
Times are tough. People can go to other cantinas now.
Yep.
The Republic's made the galaxy safe.
Yep.
But yeah, so overall, what are your thoughts on Invasion 2 Rescues?
Didn't love him.
Yeah.
Didn't love it. Rather, it was okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine.
So we don't really do a ranking tier with the comics, but and
I'll give it
again,
a two.
like we're
Not comic
I
guys.
think to be fair, like just to if anyone's upset that we don't like the comics like as much as you guys, like just the art form to us isn't quite the same as it is to other people. If you love it, great. Don't want to yuck your yum there. It's just like whenever we do comic reviews, we get some comments, people saying like, "Oh, you were too hard on that," but like part of it is just the art, the medium doesn't appeal to us the same way.
I really
So
like
not
Dark Empire 1, I will say. But yeah, this was a C for me. But I'm glad it exists because we got a lot of cool art out of
yeah,
it.
a lot of fun art. Don't love the story because I do kind of feel like it just pulls, like it just takes the stuff of like the most special thing going on for everyone else in the books, and then 10 years later applied it to a different character right away. And I don't mind like those characters not being special anymore. I don't care from that angle. I just mean like I already kind of saw this and felt like I got it better fleshed out from Anakin and Jaina. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next week there will not be a tap calf because I will not be here. Week after that, though, we will be reading Force Heretic Reunion.
Free. Yeah, no more Siru.
Yeah.
Or Siruk. So there's I think Siruk is for plural, right?
I think the species is
I
Siru
think I
individually,
think
then
like
Siruk as a group, and then Siru V Imperium as like
right.
the adjective for the demonym.
So I think like person would be Siruk or Siru, and then people would be Siruk, and
Yeah.
then humans would be or human would be Siruvi, I think.
Yeah. Well, human as like
Human might
so
be Siru.
I'm a human as a
Yes.
noun. That is
But the human
Siru.
race. Yes.
We are humans, that's Siruk. And then if there's like the human
Human
empire as
invention.
an adjective, Siru V.
Right.
That I think that's the dinosaur grammar we're going for here.
So I was talking to Ilkin about this the other day, and he asked me a question that I didn't know the answer to right away. He said, did the Bakurans know of this Siruvi before Truce of Bakura? And I thought they definitely did. It seems like
Nope.
I reread they didn't. And it's kind of funny because the Empire sends a distress call to the second Death Star, which is like y'all knew about that. Like supposed to be on the down low.
Well, Palpatine was making deals with them. It's just people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Like that's how they have Dev Sivara, because Palpatine gave them a bunch of those planets, and they're like, "Oh, those rebels are taking all the people." So
I wish we got more. I left the last book wishing we had more about that
yeah,
part of space. It's fun.
there's you can read the Unknown Regions source book, and that's all you get.
Oh, I have many videos.
God bless.
God bless.
All right,
Thanks for the money.
so
Whoever wrote that.
yeah, nothing next week. Reunion the week after. Then probably
And a reunion.
Revelations after that.
Is
I
it
don't
the
think there'll
comic?
be
Yeah.
the final comic thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see what we do after
Or
that.
we could do the audio drama as well.
Yeah, that's possible.
But
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Tonight we'll be doing some X2 stuff. Hope to see some of you there. Otherwise, see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Post this on. Oh, he's gone.
I don't know why I left.
Yeah, neither do I. Are you going to post these episodes on Spotify?
Yeah.
Is what I was going to ask.
I'm editing right now.
There's been some comments. All right.
Yeah, I know. I'm editing right now.